Today begins differently, with one of those rare kind of lingering dreams which only feel more real upon waking. Paul doesn't rise immediately, but stays very still in bed, fighting hard to bring back the details of the past few hours lived in his mind, but to no avail. Even though the dream has left him, he remains uneasy, aware that it was an intensely emotional experience. So he gets out of bed and starts his day, as he often does, with a cup of coffee and some fresh fruit. All through the morning he can still feel the weight of the dream, and as he moves on with his day, it's never far from his mind. Finally he leaves the house to take Prince for a walk. As they follow their usual route down the Strand and through the park, he feels himself remembering. By the time he lets Prince off his leash, Paul has managed to piece together most of the dream. He was standing in a park, and it was a warm and beautiful day. He was watching an old man as he manipulated the birds and their flight from where he stood on the grass. People around the man were growing upset, but to him this was some vital form of art. Later they were sitting together indoors, and the old man was urgently telling Paul of how afraid he was of dying. Paul understood now that this old man was his grandfather. He was an artist, obsessed with his work and its purpose. Paul tried to comfort his grandfather by suggesting he might use his art to express his frustration at growing old, but he only cried, lamenting all the things that would be lost with his passing. Then Paul felt something pulling him away. So, relieved, he left his grandfather. Then blankness. Walking home with little Prince, Paul tries to recall the reasons why he didn't stay with his grandfather, but the memory cannot be forced. He is sure the dream did not end there, and as the day wears on, it only bothers him more. One image strikes him again and again, like a subconscious finger pointing at him in accusation. His grandfather, in tears, searching for a comforting voice. It disturbs Paul, his failure to know what to say, to confront this topic of death with one always so capable of talking to him about anything. Paul wonders when he became this uncomfortable with the idea of life ending. Still, the incompleteness of the memory perplexes him. It is only very late in the evening, as he drifts to sleep once more, that his reasons for leaving become clear. Prince had run away. After a long and desperate search through the neighbourhood, Paul had returned home to find two stern-looking police officers holding the dog tightly by his collar. One of them informed Paul that Prince had stolen a car and gone on a string of robberies. "You have to restrain your pet, sir, otherwise it could do some real damage out there." As they handed Prince over and made to leave, they called out a final word of advice. "Enjoy your time." But they were no longer talking about Prince. Paul wakes with a start, the full impact of these last words seeming to resonate in a way that might only ever find its proper meaning in those uncanny moments that occur just on the edge of a deep sleep. He feels the power of the words strike him, like a great film or like a song. He realizes, suddenly and gradually, that it is life and not death that should be expressed and enjoyed. Paul doesn't go back to sleep, but calls his grandfather on the phone. They have a long conversation that is full of laughter and meet for lunch the next day.